Welcome back to our Community Talk segment for San Fernando. We're just hearing from Ryan as to why he used to loiter after school. Ryan Beetruche. Right, let me read something to you all from a newspaper article, okay? It says, just an hour of heavy rainfall left several business places, roads and residences in South Trinidad inundated with floods. The rain not only brought water, but rats, cockroaches, and centipedes, which sent pedestrians sheltering at business places at Lower High Street, Sando. Of course, this is from the nation's #1 newspaper, the... You know what, yeah, before we get set up, the Trinidad Guardian. The Trinidad Guardian newspaper. It's from the Guardian newspaper. All right, okay. Right, so how bad is the flooding situation really in Sando proper, at least? That's how it's Sando proper.
Should I
is it as bad as Port of Spain? Please, Mr. Mayor.
I wouldn't say that bad, but it's not bad.
Well, you wouldn't say, I would say that.
Right, well, you have two areas. What you have there, let's take for this area that, I don't know if you mentioned that, Scott Street, along the Skinner Park area. We had a serious flooding there earlier this year. What happened is that the Ministry of Works, where in the development of the highway, diverted some waterway into a small tunnel. And so once you have a heavy rainfall, you're going to have some. So we are now working on that.
So you identify the problem?
Yeah, the problem. Yes, I mean, identify which department are working. That's have to open up some drainage around the waterfront, around the Skinner Park area. Because of the heavy terrain and how San Fernando is with the hill, you're going to get some problems down the bottom of San Fernando Hill, and there's some waterways that we have to work on for St. James Street.
What about areas like David, Gasparillo, Union Hall, Marabella, Rushwood Street?
Zone,
but they are a problem. They are a huge problem. Mr. Comisiong, you wanted to say something?
Well, in
please.
Marabella.
Mike, please.
Yeah.
In Marabella, heavy rains, they do have floods. I have a place, property in the coffee, and that's the Caib Street, and my property is on the coffee in the bottom. When the rain falls, and all the water from the hill comes down and floods my building, and all the buildings on the street. So, you know, that's a problem. You know,
and how's the runoff, the drains?
Well, it's okay, but, you know, it's a big road and there's a lot of water from the hill. So that's a problem.
Kieran, you own a business. When rain falls, is the flooding or potential flooding, does that hamper your business in any way? And business community, the business community on the whole?
Ryan, we have not, thankfully, not have had bad experiences with flooding where we located on High Street. And I must say, too, that God is good that our members have not complained about any extreme cases of flooding or damage from rain or severe or extreme weather patterns within recent times.
You're on a hill, Mr. Mayor. Those are the bottom of the hills, and San Fernando is a very hilly community. Those are the people tend to face the brunt of the burden of flooding.
Yes, I know Lower High Street. I've been looking at that yesterday morning. Lower High Street, from Pennington Street, lower down there are some issues there with drainage. So the engineer is now looking at it. They may have to raise the embankment and do some work on the drain.
So you're identifying the problems?
Yes, we did, yes.
Okay. What about the gridlock traffic that it causes? Traffic along Sparrow Street, or the San Fernando bypass?
It becomes even worse when rain falls.
There is an issue getting out of San Fernando in the evening, getting to San Fernando early in the morning, and that will be ministerial work. We need probably some more lay-by, particularly around the Cookie roundabout and the outset of South Park.
And some of it is not cutting across you, has to do with inconsiderate drivers.
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
He immediately apologized. What do you mean by inconsiderate? What do they
do? For instance, the Monripo roundabout. We have, when you coming from south heading to north, you have the right-of-way. And I think that drivers, for some reason, doesn't understand the two-lane system around the roundabout. The inner lane, which is the one closer to the roundabout, is to take you to Princestown or back down to the southern direction. The outer lane is to take you to north or up to Monripo, which is heading west. And they just seem to get confused, and those who want to go north goes on the inner lane, and those who want to go to Princestown direction go on the outer lane, and then everyone bunches up there, and no one really wants to give right-of-way, unless they say some blue lights coming, then they remember that, oh, I'm in the wrong lane, or I can give you right away for you to pass and free it up a bit. So we need, as drivers, to be a little more considerate and a little more conscious of when we are driving. And for those who don't know the road well.
We need to have the dual lane of the San Fernando bypass north of South Park, and is that South Park there?
Yes.
Yes, and as well the access to get onto the highway from the bypass. We really need an overpass now so that we could duck over the bypass, and I believe there's enough land in the area that could be done. So
and maybe, Keith, maybe the removal of the cycle track, because the cycle track was designed for people who are going to work, which was then Texaco by bicycle.
the cycle track is completely useless. So there's room for dual lane
there.
So,
Yes.
I just want to open the floor because I know that in some regards this doesn't fall under your remit, Mr. Mayor, and many of you. But flooding in South Trinidad, it makes news. It makes news a lot. Union Hall, the likes of Union Hall, and it seemingly has
a regional Davy Corporation.
Right, and I get that, Mr. Mayor, and I know that you're the mayor of San Fernando, but it's still South Trinidad, and we're still very much discussing South Trinidad in its rurality as well. How can we fix this, Mr. Belgrove?
waterways clogged with plastic bottles.
Exactly.
Styrofoam
I look at that
containers.
every day.
Stove.
All sort of debris. It is we, the people,
Personal
are the
responsibility
first
is not a
defenders
thing
of
here.
flooding. So we've got to clean up our act.
Yes.
It's everywhere, everywhere. It rains. People who live in the residential parts of San Fernando suffer because the neighbor refuses to cut the lot, which has tires and buckets and whatever. So people like me with little kids, mosquitoes, dengue, personal responsibility. Why is this so hard to understand? Clean up your surroundings. Do not litter. When they dredge the Gulf, what's the name of the street from the mall to Skinner Park? That long... The Link Road. When they were dredging the Link Road, I was looking at plastic bottles and styrofoam. It was disgusting. How could we as a people be like that?
Tax for plastic bottles. What's happening with that? Because we've got to do something about it because it's chronic. It's an aged bill.
but also Trinidadians, I would say, are culturally insensitive to littering. You see when you're driving on the road, bottles come out the car, normal.
KFC box.
I mean, people just come out the car and just drop things on the ground just without any worry.
Right.
And that's a Trinidad.
Well, Mayor, what's the resource of Little Wardens right now? Because when we were speaking with Port of Spain, the deputy mayor told us that for a while they had zero, so they were kind of relying on the police to be a Little Warden as well.
We interviewed, the SCSC interviewed about 8 recently to be assigned to us.
How much you have right now? Same,
Not zero.
same zero?
Can you send them to Palmies to make people cut their lots? Plug.
The regional DV
Another
Corporation.
thing that we don't do in this country is provide bins for the public. Our organization had donated 25 to the city corporation a few years ago. I don't know how many are up now.
And give me none.
Why, Mr. Mayor?
You need bins because you're walking down the street with 2
Of course.
children and 2 bags, and you drank a soft drink. You want to put it because the child on one hand bag.
So you find somewhere to
Try
trap it in or
something.
something.
Yeah, but how difficult is it
No,
as a person who is
we have been.
who is happy to live in a certain environment within a community, for you to walk with a bag to put your
True, that's
I
right.
refuse
get what you're
in?
saying, WPC. Unfortunately, we don't live in that world.
But we have to
No, but the thing
encourage
about it
people.
is, yes, we may say we don't live in that world, and if we continue
to.
saying it, it's going to continue that
You're
way.
right. Yep.
But here it is. We as Trinidadians, we love to travel. And when we leave Trinidad, the shores
We
of
do the right
Trinidad,
thing
we
over
go,
there.
we
Yeah.
do
You're
the
right.
right thing.
You're right.
So why it is when we are in our own
Yep.
that we don't show the same
But when we
appreciation?
had those bins, every evening they were filled. Every evening
But
they
we
were
have
filled.
bins
But
all
are
over.
there, are there enough bins? Those bins you're talking
No, I
about,
don't
they're
think there are
gone?
enough.
Ryan, what we're doing as a Chamber of Commerce is we have engaged the Health Department of the San Fernando City, which in recent times we could notice that there's a lack of bins. There's a lack of financial resources within the city. We all know that. We're in a challenged economy. And when speaking with members to sponsor some bins to put in the downtown area to alleviate this habit of Trinidadians just dumping their rubbish arbitrarily all over the street, causing the drains to become clogged and causing flooding and indiscriminate behavior. Because when we travel, we all travel, we go to Miami, New York, wherever it is, and we all know how to find our dustbin. If we have to walk across the road, walk up the street, we know how to put rubbish in our bin. But we lack that mentality and culture in this country.
Just regular bins, or we're talking about bins for recycling as well?
We're looking at recycling bins as well as regular bins that we will place strategically.
We have recycling bins in Palm East, by the way.
I mean, an easy solution can be if every business and all the business organizations encourage their members collect your own plastics. And that plastics we recycle into the recycle bins. Through our small funeral home, 5 locations across the country, we use our own water brand, and as such, we collect all our plastics used and we take them to the recycle bins, so that all the business chambers begin to encourage your members. If we take, that will be about just 1% from what I see in the drains, but it is a start.
Yeah.
Mr. Commission, what about garbage collection in your area?
Well, and I live in the Laramie area very well. They come on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. They are there. Excellent.
So no reason to dump
No way. Great in Laramie.
Okay.
I'm on the main road, and it's great.
So anybody doing it, they're wicked.
Can I raise a point here about that with jaywalking?
Sure.
Particularly around Library Corner and San Fernando, because that contributes considerably
I hate jaywalking.
to congestion.
I hate it in Port of Spain. There's so many pedestrians.
And obviously, is the charge for jaywalking?
Is it like $50 or whatever in your pocket? What's the charge for jaywalking?
They tend to say it's a bit archaic, but we really need to enforce it.
It's not archaic when Miss Lady and her 2 children shoot out from behind the delivery truck. Like
exactly.
if it's not our roadway.
Yes, and then they look at you like this.
Bounceman, huh?
Yes, but we need, yes, it comes down. And it's not to say that the education isn't there, because again, as a community officer, we go to schools, we go to community groups, and we speak to them on these basic things, Practice makes permanent, right? And if you keep practicing it, you'll pass it on.
And parents
So
have a
we need to do that.
responsibility to teach your children as well.
Right.
Parents need.
We recently put a handrail across the island and Library Corner.
Yeah.
And the handrail is a protection because recently, 2 days ago, we saw a mother came across with 2 children. She released the children to adjust her handbag, and the 4-year-old just darted across the road.
Oh, no.
And almost got bounced. So the handrail is there. They're still walking on the street and walk between the protected area.
Parents need to be a little more responsible when coming to taking care and supervising their children. Whether it's you're on the roadway with them, because as the mayor rightly said, it seems to be common now where parents walking with 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, and they're not holding their hands. And they have them walking in front. And if they step out into a vehicle, and I would have seen it many times, they get very aggressive with the child. And at that point in time, I'm calling you out. I'm telling you, no, it is your responsibility. Once you're walking on the roadway with the child, you are supposed to hold the child's hand. You're supposed to practice the right thing.
Are you a jaywalker, right?
So,
I don't think I am.
You sure?
I'm not sure.
All right, let's take another break. When we come back, we're getting very close to the part where we get the solution. Yep. So I'm really looking forward to that. Stay with us.